Hello my friends, welcome to another video. So in this one I'm going to show you what books I accumulated in the month of October. Much more than I thought I would. So let's go ahead and get started. And these are going to be in no particular order as far as when I accumulated them. So there's that. So the first one I will mention is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This is the first book I've ever owned, let alone will have read, by Naomi Novik. This is on my November TBR, so you will have already seen this book pop up, but I will get to it a little bit, hopefully a little later in the month. But again, this is the first book that I will talk about. So this, you're following a character, I don't know her name yet, and it's not mentioned in the flap. All it talks about is basically she's at a magical school. I've heard that survival is slim. In order to graduate, move on to the next phase of one's life, you have to survive the schoolmance, however it's pronounced. Everyone expects this gal, this character that we will be following, to become a dark wizard or a dark witch. She's not wanting to do that. There's this guy that's following her around named Orion Lake, who kind of keeps getting in the way, so to speak. And everyone loves this Orion character. She does not. She's annoyed. He is the only one, according to the flap, that she would be okay if she ended up killing. But she is evidently very powerful. So I look forward to getting to this in November, so this month. I think this sounds great. Again, this will be my first taste of Naomi Novik, and I hope I really like her writing. This next book I will talk about is by an author that I do like her writing, although I've only read 2 of her books. And that is V.E. Schwab, and I have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I have heard that this is not what people have gone in expecting. From what I can tell, it's going to be very, I guess, like kind of like a dialogue, but an internal dialogue, so to speak, which I don't mind that. I actually like that. So you're following Addie LaRue from 1714. She makes a deal with a devil or a demon and ends up living forever. But the downside is that people forget her as soon as they leave the room, or she leaves the room, or something like that. And then evidently years down the line, someone finally actually does remember her. And so I think it kind of takes off from that, from what I've heard. It says it will be 300 years before she stumbles into a hidden bookstore and discovers someone who can remember her name. And then everything changes again. That has got to be a very lonely life. And you definitely have to adapt with certain things. I don't know. As much as I sometimes like being alone, I don't know if I could handle being alone like she is. I think this sounds like it's going to be kind of a powerful tearjerker type thing. But I think it just sounds powerful. But at the same time, it's like you get to experience, to a point, all these things and see how technology advances. And I think that'd be very cool. And medicine advances and just, yeah. Anyway, at some point I definitely look forward to reading this. So far I like V.E. Schwab's writing. I've only read 2 other books by her, which was the Vengeful and Vicious books. But I do like her writing enough that I am looking forward to reading this. So we'll see if this holds up to her writing that I like. So this next book I'm going to talk about is one that arrived into my hands most recently. This is a classic. I've always wanted to read this. I've seen, like, I want to say it was Disney cartoon adaptations of this. So obviously it takes this big classic and condenses it to like 20 to 30 minutes. So obviously it's not doing enough justice. I've heard people talk about it and how great it is, but I really wanted to get my own copy. And that is Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. This is a translation by Edith Grossman. Anyway, and an introduction by Harold Bloom. But this is a thick, obviously, as you can tell. 940 pages. Yeah, 940 pages. I've read. I can't remember this. This may be the longest book I will have ever read, but I do look forward to this. I don't really know much about it other than from its. I think there's this concern about the character Don Quixote might be having mental issues, and I can't really say what it's about. It's just a bunch of quotes on the back. Talks about the translator, the author, then there's a bunch of quotes. Let's see. The most tragic book ever written, Don Quixote, chronicles the adventures of the self-centered knight-errant Don Quixote of La Mancha and his faithful squire Sancho Panza as they travel through 16th century Spain. This masterful translation, anyway. So that's all it says. So, yeah, self-centered knight. Yeah. And I think there's, I don't remember, I thought there was something that I saw about him thinking that a windmill was a giant. And I think that was a cartoon. And I think it was based off of this, so I don't know if that's actually accurate or was made for theatrical purposes in the movie. But I definitely really look forward to reading this. I've wanted to read this for years and years. Finally got my own copy. Finally will read it. Looking forward to that. So up next is The Year of the Intern by Robin Cook. Now, Robin Cook, I've read one or two of his before and really liked them. But that was like years ago. And that was more in the mindset of I was reading what I thought people wanted me to read. I do remember enjoying it, but I can't remember much. Not a good mind space, but I do remember, I believe I loved this. I got this, this was, when was this published? Because this was hard. I don't want to say it was that hard to find, but I think this is out of print. It was originally $7.99. I got this from Amazon for $7.19. Free shipping on it, which was nice. Let's see. 1972. So this book was written and published before I was born. Yeah, more than 10 years before I was born. I was born in the 80s. So I looked, there were 3. This was supposed to be the paperback for $7.19, which it is, but this is more like a mass market paperback size, which is fine. So this was $7.19 free shipping. If I wanted to buy the specifically labeled mass market paperback, which would have been the older, I think one of the original covers, it would have been $7.98 plus like $4 or $5 shipping. So I'm just going to do this cover. I like this cover better anyway. So bonus for me. What was interesting, and because I think it's the hardbacks are out of print, when I originally looked, where is my phone? Because I want to see what it's going for now. When I originally looked at this, the hardback book was $900 or $819. Let me see. So it was originally like $918. When I looked again like 2 weeks ago, because I was just curious to see if it's gone up, it went up to like $983. Well, as of today, the hardcover is $987.25. So, and today's the 2nd of November that I'm filming this. Yeah, no. I'm never going to buy a book that expensive. I mean, I can see collectors thinking that would be a good investment and stuff, and if they have the money to do so, by all means, proceed with my blessings. But there's no way I can afford that. As much as I may love the author, I just, no, not going to do that. I would rather buy, so many more books than that one book that costs like $1,000. So anyway, that's me. So yes, so this one follows, let's see, Dr. Peters, it's his internship, and so it's going to kind of make or break him if he's going to become a doctor or fail out, type of a thing. It's his first few weeks of internship. He's tired and afraid. Can't remember when he last slept, so he's sleep deprived. He's following to assist with surgeons in the operating room, nurses who may know more than he does, which is understandable. He's only an intern. He's dealing with injured and ill patients and the family members of those said injured and ill patients. He has to pretend that he's not. It says, and I like this line, pretend at all times to be what he has not yet become, a fully qualified doctor. It says this book is about what happens to a young intern, and he goes through the year that promises to make him into a doctor and threatens to destroy him as a human being. So now this next one was written by some YouTubers. I don't know if you guys have seen, they're very popular on YouTube. Rhett and Link from Good Mythical Morning and Good Mythical More. It is their Bleak Creek book, The Lost Causes of Bleak Creek. One, it sounds good, and I like their channel enough. They're one of the ones that actually make me laugh enough just with their reactions. There's a lot of jokes that you don't understand, but with the stuff that they do, more of the slapstick style, but there's really not slapstick, just like with the foods they eat and their reactions, and when they're playing games and the reactions of winning or losing just crack me up. So one of the things, people that can actually make me laugh. Lost Causes of Bleak Creek, it's based in 1992, and it's in North Carolina, and it's talking about two Baptist church, and they send these teenagers to that live in Bleak Creek to a Whitewood school. It's a reformatory, and it says it has a reputation for putting youths back on the straight and narrow. But however, the good has outweighed the negative, so to speak. We'll see. There's definitely going to be more into that. Evidently, there have been deaths that have occurred over the past decade, and people have been willing to overlook that, and so it's finally starting to surface, it sounds like. Let's see. It says that they've been told their students' strange demises were all tragic accidents. But when they shoot for their low-budget horror masterpiece, Polterdog goes horribly awry, and their best friend, Alicia Boykins, is sent to Whitewood as punishment. They are forced to question everything they knew about their quiet hometown and its cherished school for delinquents. I think this sounds great. I definitely look forward to getting to this. So these next several books I got from Barnes & Noble. The other ones were, two of those ones, the Addie, LaRue, and the Deadly Education, were from Book of the Month. The other three were from Amazon. This next stack is Barnes & Noble. And Barnes & Noble is so fun, but it's so dangerous to go in, and I definitely spent more than I should have. So this first book I'm going to talk about was complete cover draw. It's a beautiful purple. It has a cat, and then you have the candles there, ravens or some kind of bird. I'm going to assume they're ravens, and then obviously branches up there. This is by Sasha Laurnes, A Wicked Magic. It says, what evil has these new witches awakened? So let's go ahead. I'm just going to read this to you. It says, when Danella and Liz, there you go, so you can see it. It says, when Daniela and Liz stumbled on a way to transform themselves into witches, they didn't realize that magic had an agenda of its own. That every time the friends cast a spell, they were one step closer to disaster. If only they'd known, Johnny would never have been dragged away into the night in the claws of a horrifying creature. If only they'd known, Dan and Liz would still be best friends, same as they ever were, sad and lonely and stagnating in their small town. And Dan's new best friend, Alexa, would be safe in L.A., far away from the danger they've awoken. If only they'd known that magic was wicked. If only. It says it's set in the atmospheric wilds of California's northern coast. Sasha Laurnes, let's see. So this is a debut novel. Let's see. Complications of friendships, taking back power, and embracing the darkness that lurks within us all. So I look forward to that. And especially where this is a debut book. Definitely pulled me in with that. So hopefully the inside will definitely live up to what drew me in with the cover. So the other one is The Leaving by Tara Altebrando. more than likely said that wrong. It says 6 were taken, 5 came back. So this follows as years ago, 11, these kindergartners went missing. 6 of them, obviously, as it tells by the little tagline there. And then all of a sudden, 5 of these kids come back, and some of them are claiming amnesia. They can't remember what happened. But yet, I think it's a cousin or a sister. One of them, let's see. It says, let me just read the back. It'll make much more sense. It says, after all that time, the people left behind moved on, or tried to. So after the kids were kidnapped. Until today. Today, 5 of those kids return. They're 16 and they are fine. Scarlett comes home and finds a mom she barely recognizes and doesn't really recognize the person she's supposed to be either. But she thinks she remembers Lucas. Lucas remembers Scarlett too, except they're entirely unable to recall where they've been or what happened to them. Neither of them remembers the 6th victim, Max, the only one not to come back, which leaves Max's sister, Avery, wanting answers. She wants to find her brother, dead or alive, and isn't buying this whole memory loss story. But as details of the disappearance begin to unfold, no one is prepared for the truth. I think that sounds great. I do like stuff where it's like the memories start to come back little by little. That's definitely one style or of writing type of a story that I have liked. So the next book I bought was The Novice by Taran, Matharu. Anyway, let's see. Let me go ahead and read the back. It says Fletcher is working as a blacksmith's apprentice, and I believe that this is Fletcher. Let's see. When he discovers his rare ability to summon demons from another world, subsequently chased from his village for a crime he did not commit, Fletcher must travel with his demon Ignatius to an academy for adepts where the gifted are taught the art of summoning. Okay. I do like stuff that takes place with the school, so I'm very intrigued with that as well. That's one of the reasons I bought that, because I do love books set in a school. Along with nobles and commoners, Fletcher endures grueling lessons that will prepare him to serve as a battle mage in the Emperor's war against the savage orcs. But sinister forces infect new friendships and rivalries are formed at this school. With no one but Ignatius by his side, Fletcher must decide where his loyalties lie, as he soon learns the fate of the Empire is in his hands. Yes. And so with these next ones, I think we're going to see kind of a little bit of a recurring theme. So I was definitely drawn to a particular plot, I want to say. So this next one is, I can't remember, it's definitely the one after that. It kind of has a similar vibe to The Leaving that I mentioned earlier. But first let's talk about The Girl I Used to Be. It's got a sticker in the way by April Henry. I had to look on the side because the sticker's covering up her last name. Yeah, it says 14 years ago, a 3-year-old girl was the only survivor of a horrific murder scene. All these years later, that same girl is determined to search for the truth, but the killer is even more determined to stop her. And that's all it says. So, murder survivor, like one commonality with The Leaving is someone that wants answers. So, yeah. So we'll see if they get their answers or if they're thwarted in that. So the next book I'm going to talk about is To Catch a Killer by Sheryl Scarborough. And this follows... I like how she's running through the fog and looking back. Definitely like that. Kind of sinister vibe. Let's see. It says, Aaron Blake has one of those names. Instantly recognizable. A name inextricably linked to a grisly crime. As a toddler, Erin survived for 3 days alongside the corpse of her murdered mother. The case, which remains unsolved, fascinated a nation. 14 years later, Erin has become a relatively normal teen in spite of the looming questions about her past. But then she discovers the body of her biology teacher and once again finds herself at the center of a brutal homicide investigation. When questioned by the police, Erin tells almost the whole truth, but never voices her suspicions that her mother's killer has struck again. So you've got things, and I think the similar thing with these 3 books, with the Leaving the Girl I Used to Be and To Catch a Killer, is that it's about survivors. It sounds like a grisly crime, whether it's murder. Obviously, Max doesn't come home when the other kindergartners do at age 16. And then people looking for answers, and they have suspicions, and so you're trying to go along with them, obviously, to figure that out. So similar plot, but hopefully the stories will be very different enough, which I suspect they will. This last book I am the most excited about. I'm just checking the time real quick. The last book I'm the most excited about is a book of poetry. It's a bind-up of 2 poetry books, and I've read both of these books over and over before as a child, and just loved it. This is a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition for Where the Sidewalk Ends and Then Everything on It by Shel Silverstein. So, love the white faux leather cover. It's just black and white. Gorgeous silver edges there, and it does come in this particular binding with a red ribbon. You're now hearing the dogs snore. So I just remember it, and I love the back. It just says, "If you're a dreamer, come in." Hey, sorry. You're hearing the dogs. They're on my bed sleeping. Anyway, so the back says, "If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer. If you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flex golden tales to spin. Come in, come in." So I am so excited about this one and just revisiting these poetries. I don't remember a lot of the poems just because it's been so long since I've read these. One, and my mom mentioned it, that she remembers is about there's too many kids in the tub. So we'll get to that at some point. I'm just kind of flipping through it, seeing a lot of these I just don't remember. These pictures, it does come with pictures throughout and images throughout. So that one was for the shadow wash. The treehouse. Just for sale. Some of these, I remember the pictures more than the poetry because it's been just so long. And yeah, I don't know. The acrobats. Can you see that? There you go. Anyway, so that is my haul for the month of October. There you go. Those are the books that I have accumulated. Now I just need to find spots for them. And I will leave my social media and other information in the description box. And I'll try and link like Goodreads descriptions for these, so if you want to look to see what the average rating is and more of the description, maybe what people think, if you wanted to look at that, then you'll have access to that. But I definitely look forward to these, and I hope maybe this puts some new books and radar and authors on your radar. And until next time, again, please hit the subscribe and the like button. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I will talk to you later.